Hey guys, good morning. What a blessing we have today, given the Passion Week. Just knowing that this was the final week of Jesus doing ministry, some almost 2,000 years ago. What a blessing we have to go through God's Scripture and to hear what He has to teach. This one, I imagine, has gotten you and I in trouble before, and it's really a a heavy reality of how our heart is so deceitfully wicked, and how we want to say, that's not my heart, or that's not my intention when I said dot 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 dot. No, sometimes people may mishear us, but oftentimes there's always a bit of thread of truth in the things which we say. So here we are in verse 43 of Luke chapter 6. For a good fruit does not bear bad fruit, nor does a bad tree bear good fruit. For every tree is known by its own fruit. For men do not gather figs from thorns, nor do they gather grapes from a bramble bush. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart brings forth evil. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Man, this is such a tough one, because here's the deal, right? You can't really get around this at all. That what the things that we speak oftentimes have, well, it says they very clearly have roots within inside of our heart. Right? So if we have a measure of sarcasm, there's probably a measure of truth. If we end up cutting someone down, there's probably the reality that those thoughts are deep seated into our heart. And all those sorts of things on a negative, well, the Bible would say, and James would say, they kind of, it's like a small ember that sets the forest on fire. And you're like, are you kidding me? And sometimes we can just ruin relationships. We can ruin things so quickly with just a handful of words. You think about it, and in just a moment, you could say something that would just devastate your family, devastate your spouse, devastate a close friend in just a moment of the things in which you say. In the same respect, though, and I think this is so important, is that you also, if you have a good treasure of your heart, you should speak it as well. You know, I think one of the big problems is that we don't even address here is that, you know what, sometimes people don't share it all. And if there's good that's going on in your heart and your thoughts towards another person, you ought to be sharing those, because you have good fruit to be able to share, and something that can be built, that can build someone up, that can be encouraging, comforting, all that sort of stuff. Why hold those back? And why not let those be a gift that comes from you? But in the same thing, we ought to keep some stuff out of our mouth, because our heart is deceitfully wicked and can destroy. You know, I think of Jesus just in this final week, as he was falsely accused. It says that he was like a lamb before the shears. What was he? He was quiet. He was silent. He didn't say a thing. And the few times that he did, he just kind of was very direct and very coarse with those that are there. And there are even times when, you know what, out of the goodness flowed a bit of anger, righteousness. Even in that final week when he'd go in and he'd overturn the tables of the money changers. You know, those are some righteous things which might come out of our mouth. But in most cases, I don't know about you, but me, if I'm going to have something that comes off pretty hard and intense, that's probably not going to be flowing from a good place of this guy's heart. So I love you guys. Be encouraged, be strengthened, and I pray that you would seek to have the treasure in your heart that you want to come out of you, that would be good and righteous and full. Love you guys, and God bless you all.